All right, we are live. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your source for Second Amendment news. And from what I'm hearing at SHOT Show, the premier source of Second Amendment news on YouTube. And I owe it all to you, the viewers. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your support. Your support goes so far. I can't even express to you how thankful I am. We got a special guest today on a quick turnaround from the video I did regarding Oklahoma. And I am honored to have him here. Before I get to him real quick, I want to remind everybody, if you are interested in the Second Amendment news, as fast as it happens, no matter where it happens in this country, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, you need to hit that subscribe button now, because this is where you're going to find it here on Guns and Gadgets. While you're at it, right next to it is that bell icon. Click that. It lets you know when I do live or even new stuff like this. That's how you're going to find out about it. And hit that thumbs up. Smash it. The more people that have it, that thumbs up hit, the better off we are on YouTube, no matter how hard they try to suppress it. And always share the videos. It goes a long way in getting the news out, because you know you're not going to see it on the lamestream media. Also, consider supporting the channel. It goes a long way in all this equipment and stuff like that. And you can do that on Patreon. The links are always down in the description of every single video. Let's get into it. This is going to be a big one. Oklahoma. You guys are the next target for Michael Bloomberg, and I want to introduce my guest here. I am lucky to have none other than Don Spencer. He is the president of Oklahoma Second Amendment Association. Sir, thank you for your time. I know how busy you are right now. Thank you for carving out a section for the viewers.
Hey, I appreciate it too, Jared. I appreciate all you guys have done too.
Awesome. So we chatted earlier. You know where we want to go. So before we jump into the evilness that is afoot, please tell everybody about what Oklahoma Second Amendment Association does and how they can find out more about you.
The Oklahoma Second Amendment Association was founded in 2009 because the fact we realized that there was a stopgap that just was not being met, that was being made between national organizations into our state. And that it's our backyard, it's up for us to take care of our backyard. And how can we expect those guys, sometimes morons in DC, to get anything right if you don't even have it right in your own backyard? So you got to take care of your backyard. And in that time, in 10 years, OK2A has repealed nine felonies for the peaceful ownership and possession of a firearm, just for peacefully owning or possessing it. Also, we have had 130 positive state
Awesome. So that was a question I had for you that I didn't get to before we started. So you guys actually constantly reassess your grades for your legislators, correct?
Absolutely. We release, in fact, we just released it just a few weeks ago for the 2019 session. So legislators can know what's going to happen for 2020. Some of them, obviously, there's a lot of people that are mad at us. There's some people that are We also worked on a Senate Bill 361 that was signed by the governor to clarify and to protect First Amendment rights for college students on a public campus, university campus, to protect their free speech, because we've seen across the country people getting beaten, and we also know all types of bullying, which higher ed is very good at. bullying to make sure people stay within their confines and not actually express critical thinking that they should be doing.
Awesome. So, just as a quick recap for those, I guess we're having a little audio hiccup we had there when I had you alone on the screen for a couple seconds. But they constantly recheck their scores. The legislators, some of them are getting bent, which is a good thing, and they're killing bills, which is what this is all about.
Right. I don't know how you can see, but that's what we basically do. We've got a running sheet. I've got a checklist on it, and like I say, we do modifiers. If a legislator introduces a bill for us, that means he goes from an A to possibly an A plus, because everybody starts with an A. It's up to them to keep it.
Okay.
So, and we have several legislators that actually have an A plus plus, because not only do they get it advanced, they get it on the governor's desk and they get it signed. And it just takes a lot of effort to do that. And OK, 2A, 2 years ago, we got 9 bills on the governor's desk and signed. And the following year, we got 5. And this year, we're hoping to do at least another 5 or 6 more.
Awesome. And for those who are not aware of how lucky Oklahoma has been in the last year, could you tell them which bill that you wrote, you penned, and you are solely responsible for the writing of? Want to just let everybody know what you got passed last year?
Well, House Bill 2597 was constitutional carry, and it incorporated 12 sections of law, because Oklahoma has had some of the worst gun laws we've had that we've been trying to straighten out. And so you just can't fix one little spot and it fixes everything. It could actually make things worse, because a lot of people don't realize Oklahoma became a state in 1907, and the very first law it passed was, as far as guns, is you shall not carry a pistol, rifle, or shotgun on or about your person or in your purse, whether loaded or unloaded. That was the very first unconstitutional law. And then in 1908, it is already in front of the state Supreme Court, because the guy had a concealed carry in his pistol and he's convicted of it. And then in 1926, they figured a guy was a bootlegger. They show up to his house with a warrant. He answers the door with a .45 Colt in his belt, and they say, wait out in the yard for us. He just waits out in the yard. Nothing else happens. They go in, check several times. So they don't find anything. They arrest him for open carry of a pistol in his own front yard at the demand of the law enforcement officer. He's convicted of it, and it's upheld by the Oklahoma State Criminal Court of Appeals. And even in the ruling, it said the state legislature can outlaw the ownership and possession of a pistol, and that is still on the books today. So in Oklahoma, you do not, I want to repeat this, you do not have a Second Amendment right. You barely have a privilege. So that's why OK2A, we worked so hard to make sure SJR 16, which changes the state constitution to a phrase you might be familiar with, shall not be infringed. It's going to put that in there, and we're pulling the state legislature out of the whole picture to make sure we protect the citizens' rights, so we don't end up in the situation like Virginia, because in fact we started like Virginia. This state was built on socialism, and so we've been clawing back. Now back to constitutional carry, because I wanted you to understand where we're at and how difficult this is to get this going. We've actually had this bill introduced 8 times over the past 10 years, and it was vetoed by the previous governor. And so, by the way, Bloomberg spent, I can't remember how much money, major front page or back page ads in local newspapers to go against constitutional carry. And it was overwhelmingly passed, but the governor vetoed it. This year, what was so good about it, it became the election issue. So anyone that was running for governor was being hit by OK2A members. What are you going to do on constitutional carry? And they were hounded. And so by the time that the governor got to here, which, by the way, I think he would have signed it no matter what. He's just a rock solid guy. That the bill was introduced on February the 26th. And by it was introduced on February the 6th. And by February the 27th, it was on his desk being signed, all within 1 month. So that's how aggressive we've gotten here in Oklahoma to get our rights back that should have literally never been taken away.
Yeah, no, I remember when it was going through the process there, I've done a video when it was submitted and when it was passed. And you guys did a hell of a job turning that around quick. I'm glad you mentioned Virginia because that is, unfortunately, what's kind of heading your way, it looks like. So
Right.
everybody out there who watches this channel knows about Virginia, what happened in Virginia. But Michael Bloomberg, or if you watch his commercials, Mike Bloomberg,
Right.
he spent an exorbitant amount of money out of his own pocket, combined with redistricting in Virginia, and he flipped the state blue to his anti-gunners, and immediately they had to pay the piper, and we had all kinds of anti-gun bills thrown at the wall, and most of them have gotten out of committee. A few of them have already made it through a full chamber vote, and they headed to the other side of the house, the legislature. And it's not good. I mean, the VCDL did a big rally to try to get people in to actually talk to their legislators, but the Democrat majority said, doesn't matter. We have the majority. We're going to do it anyway.
Right.
And
Right.
they're following through, which brings us to what happened in the last, 10 days, 15 days in Oklahoma. You guys have had a ton of pre-filed anti-gun Michael Bloomberg bills, and I just wanted to give you the floor to talk about the bills you want everybody to know about, not just people in your state, which is keen, they have to know, and I think this will go a long way to educating everybody, but people in the nation. Like I've told people that Bloomberg has said that what he did in Virginia is the blueprint, and he will do it in 12 other states immediately. You guys are next on the map, so take the floor, sir. Just tell them what the bill number is, what it is, and what it looks to accomplish.
Well, here we go. I'm going to hold this up for you first. Can you see that okay? That is 6 bills that have been introduced. And this is just in the House, not even the Senate. This is 6 new bills introduced to take away rights. And I'll start with the very beginning one. Probably maybe one of your favorites, but it's a ban on magazines. And this is the real clever how well this is thought out. You can own a magazine on October the 31st. But on November the 1st, if I give that magazine to you and you're in Oklahoma, it's a felony. You see any problem with that? And that's a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds of ammunition. So I don't know about you. For me, as a person that has probably more magazines than I can count, well, I could probably if I tried, but I'm not going to.
You can never have too many.
Exactly. Never have too many. It's making and trying to create a civil war. I don't know how a law enforcement officer could even think about enforcing this. How's anyone going to know? Because magazines aren't registered, although I'm sure they would love to take it to that.
Right.
So that's the first one is a magazine ban. It's perfect classic Bloomberg language is all over that. Here is another one. In fact, it's the repeal of constitutional carry. We got it passed last year, and so Representative Jason Lowe, of the east side of Oklahoma City, who, by the way, has never owned a gun, who's never touched a gun, is a guy that's saying you don't need to have a gun.
Right.
And actually, what they're actually saying here in Oklahoma, oh no, we don't want to take your guns, and that's the moms demand action. When fact is, you watch Bloomberg saying, yeah, you got no business having a gun, and we're going to come and take them.
Right.
So that's what we're facing also. Also, Representative Nichols out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, he's basically got a bill here, and here's what's funny. I bet you're probably somewhat knowledgeable about firearms, and there's 40 on here that you would go, what the heck is that they're trying to ban on us here? And it's not banning the ownership, it's banning the carry. Mm-hmm. And in that carry, it says semi-automatic. So if you got any kind of a semi-automatic, I mean, these guys are trying to take us back to black powder days, right. For sure. And in fact, they'll choke that if they get the chance, and you and I both know that. So that's also, that was House Bill 2945. The magazine ban is House Bill 2940. Now here's what this same representative, and he's an attorney, made a mistake that he wanted to ban long guns being carried in restaurants.
Right. That's all.
But anyway, he gets the bill back, and it turns out he banned guns in parks, trying to ban guns in restaurants. So you've got public property versus private property. I'm sure that they'll attempt to get this corrected. But there was an event here last year when walked in, the constitutional carry was passed. He walks into a restaurant that also sells alcohol, but it primarily sells food. And so he walks in there, and so it doesn't really cause a disturbance. They just ask him to leave. All the video you can see, he just turns around, he leaves. And so basically he was arrested for a felony for being in an area with a rifle, for having the rifle in this restaurant bar. Now, had he had a pistol, it had been perfectly legal,
Mm.
according to law enforcement and the DA. According to OK2A, he was already legal because there was a section called 506, which defines alcohol, had been repealed the day before.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
you've got this hysterical calamity, but it just shows how tyranny can be at such even just a state level, and law enforcement. And I am pro law enforcement, but guys, this is bad. They set this guy up to do what they could to get him charged with felony because they deemed him dangerous. Which next goes to my red flag laws that are introduced. Someone neighbor says, he's got some guns and he scares me. Next thing you know, they're beating on your door to come take your guns away. There is no due process. I think we've been long down this road. Due process is a key cornerstone of the United States government and the founding fathers. So that's some of what we're seeing as far as the negative stuff. And I've been a big proponent for many years that the best way to get your rights back is to stay on offense. And so OK2A, last year we introduced 38 gun bills. We have around 20 that are being carried over, and then we're having about another 20 introduced again.
Okay.
So I look at it kind of like the buckshot method. You throw it out there, and it's going to hit something. Not everyone's going to hit, but you can have something that you can work with and move forward on. And so we've got bills this year. In fact, one bill is designed to strengthen the stand your ground law. It's called the burden of proof, which is what's supposed to happen is put the burden of proof upon the state before they can keep and take and prosecute you at all. Also, we have, this is one of the big favorites of higher ed. I've got a college campus carry bill I wrote, and it's been introduced. It's Senate Bill 1567. Carry into the state capital of Oklahoma has never been legal. In Texas, Kansas, Missouri, and New Mexico all allow citizens with a SDA or a handgun license to carry into the state capital. We think Oklahomans are well enough prepared and behaved to do exactly the same thing. So we've got that bill also. Also, there's also just stuff like cleanup language for constitutional carry, because like I said, it's such a big bill. There's some other little things you fix and you go in there and tweaking it. And here is another one that you just probably, if you've watched government at all, government cannot prohibit a person from peacefully carrying a gun in an Oklahoma park. But what the city of Tulsa will do is, well, since we can't prohibit a gun in a park, when we block off a street for an event, we're going to prohibit guns there because the law does not specifically say a street. Mm-hmm. So we're saying, okay, we're going to fix it. We're putting the word street in there, sidewalks, alleys, and just choke that noose off so they cannot be hiding behind this anymore. City of Tulsa is a Bloomberg. In fact, he was there just last weekend.
Right.
A year ago, he dropped $1 million in Tulsa, and some of that was used against constitutional carry. So Bloomberg, at least as the way I look in Oklahoma, situational awareness. We see what he's doing at OK2A. And just like when you walk outside of a store, you're looking around to make sure someone's not going to rob you. We're doing the same thing with Bloomberg. We're making sure he's not going to rob us of our constitutional rights that we're working so hard to get back that simply should have never been taken away.
Yeah,
so
and he'll try. Yeah, absolutely. He'll try, and he'll spend billions doing it. So I'm glad you guys are jumping on it. So just curious, have you reached out to any of your sheriffs and or chiefs of police? And if so, what is the feeling you get from them? Because we saw a huge turnout pro 2A in Virginia from sheriffs and the whole Second Amendment sanctuary movement. Right.
Well, since Oklahoma is not under that immediate assault that Virginia was under, we're taking a little bit different approach. And if I was in Virginia's shoes, I would do exactly the same thing. But what we've done, and especially my own backyard, my county sheriff that I live in, we make sure we hire constitutionally minded people, or we're going to find somebody else. So we're fortunate in the county that I live at. And so, but what's Oklahoma has 77 counties, and with us changing the state constitution to where it shall not be infringed, instead of focusing on sanctuary cities or counties, we're just focusing on a sanctuary state. and just be done with it and just get it right. Now, that doesn't mean if someone's going to start a sanctuary county or a city, we're not against it by any means. But our focus is going to be remained on just making the whole state done at once in one blanket. It'll go to the vote of the people and be done with, so we can protect rights for our children and our grandchildren and our great grandchildren.
Awesome. Now, on these bills that you're submitting on the offensive, curious, what is the makeup of your legislature as far as R's to D's? And do you have some D's that are, that vote pro 2A in your state?
Well, it's like this. We got one Democrat. His name is Senator Dossett in the Senate, and he has an A+ rating with us. Every one of the other Democrats have a D or an F.
Okay.
And we also have 2 Republicans in the House of Representatives that have Fs. We need to get them out. And then we also have a senator who is a Republican that also has a D-. He voted for constitutional carry, but he voted against every other gun and private property rights and First Amendment right bill we have. And we're already looking to replace him, and he's still got 3 years to go.
All right.
So that's how we look at it, and we're pointing it out. Okay, 2A. We make sure their district knows. We make sure our members that are in their district know. And goes back to, like I said earlier, situational awareness, because we learned those legislators will go back to their district saying, "Oh yes, I voted for your rights," when in fact they didn't.
Absolutely.
And so we've got the scorecard. We're calling them on it. And then, like I said, we've had representatives that gone back to their district. "Oh yeah, I'm voting for your rights." And I would send either Facebook stuff, email messages into that county seat saying, "Look, here's what actually happened. Here's their voting. Here's what they did." No, they're not doing what they said they would. And so either same thing, they hate us and they come honest, or we work to get them out of there.
Awesome. I'm a huge proponent on this channel of accountability. And I mean, the only way to stop the aggression is to be aggressive. So sometimes the only way to stop that bully is to punch him dead in the mouth. And
well, actually, and to that point, let me agree this. When you say punch him in the mouth, I know you meant that metaphorically. We make sure at OK2A that anytime you deal with a legislator, that you treat them, even though if you disagree with them 100%, you treat them with the ultimate respect. Because I've also learned every once in a while, someone that you would never think would vote for you may throw you a bone and may actually help get you through a spot, because we've actually had that happen a couple of times when the Republicans didn't want the bill to go through and we got a Democrat to actually vote for something to move it. And it's happened. So that's really important. When I first started this, we had 7 or 8 Democrats in the Oklahoma House of Representatives I could count on. Now, not a one. And if you want to know what the makeup is, we have a supermajority in the House, we have a supermajority in the Senate, and we have the governor's desk. So here's the fact, folks. If we can't get gun bills passed, it's no one to blame but the Republicans, because we don't need a single Democrat for a vote.
Yeah, we spoke before we came live. I've actually been in contact with one of your state legislators, and I got the same feeling from him. So we're going to be doing a lot of chatting together, and I'm sure I know you're already. So yeah, it's looking good, but that doesn't mean you have to stop the fight. So what would be the message you have for your residents and what they can do to help you?
Okay, the first thing you do as a resident, the first thing you have to do is, who's your state representative? Who's your senator? Because a lot of people don't realize it doesn't take that much, because when a representative gets an email, they figure, well, that represents about 10 people's opinions. If they get a phone call, they figure that might represent about 100 opinions. And if you show up at their office, that might represent about 1,000 opinions, and that gets their attention the best. So the first thing you do is, like I say, you make sure your objective is for your representative to have your phone number on his speed dial. So he says, hey, I wonder what Jared's thinking on this. Hey, I wonder what Don's thinking on this. So he has that. And also, ask for a meeting, buy them lunch, go out, take them lunch, just so you get to know them a little bit. So they, because we don't want to all be jumping down their throats at everything. These people need support from us. It is a big deal. And let's say in Oklahoma, what we do, someone that does good, we hand them awards. We make sure they've got awards that go up on there. Just like if they don't do right, man, we let them know that that's not exactly you're working with us here. And also, there was one other bill I wanted to tell you about, which I absolutely love, and you'll probably love this too. It's called a defensive display bill. And like I mentioned earlier, Oklahoma has had terrible, terrible laws. In fact, even just 3 years ago, pointing a gun at a person for the act of self-defense was still a felony. So we fixed that, if you can imagine that. So what we're doing is this defensive display. What we're working is a bill says, hey, there's a couple of thugs approaching. Hey, you guys, I've got a gun. Go away. That would become legal in Oklahoma. Have to pull your coat back and show you have a gun. That would become legal. If you have to remove it from the holster, this would still become legal. And if you actually had to point for the act of self-defense, it would be legal. So we're making sure that is clarified in law, that this is being done. And I love it because we've got a female legislator by the name of Denise Crosswhite Hayter, who's actually going to be presenting this bill. And I love it when women who are A+ rated Second Amendment minded people get up there and say, I'm just a little gal. I want to be able to defend myself, and I don't want to have to even think about going to jail if I need to do that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's what we work on, and it's also legislature's kind of like a football team. You don't just hand a bill to anybody. You hand it to the people that you think can move it the best and get things going. And we've learned how to do that because we work with the legislature very closely on these types of things to make sure we get them into the right people and get them advanced. So when you put all that mesh together, that's how it works. And here's the sad part, and I hate to say this because you know this, you sound like a TV plastic preacher on Sunday morning, but it takes money to do this.
Right.
And Bloomberg is throwing money at Moms Demand Action, and we work on nickels and dimes. But the thing is, when you've got a bunch of people, the nickels and dimes do add up. And to keep a person at the state capitol, to keep an eye on this and to keep it functioning, that's where OK2A, and I've just dedicated my time because I've done this for the past 3 years without pay to get to where we could actually keep a person hired up there to keep an eye on these things. So, because you got to keep an eye on them. If you take your eyes off, we know what they'll do. We know what they'll do.
I often say, anytime I have anybody on from a Pro 2A agency or just say it in general, the term I use is support those who support you. I'm a big proponent of, whatever. A week's worth of coffee is $20-$25 depending on what you drink. Sometimes it's $30-$35 depending on where you go. Send that to your local agency, those ones who are actually in the trenches fighting for you. With that said, I know you have several options as far as membership levels on your website. Just touch base on that real quick. Tell them how they can join. For those who are wondering, I live in Massachusetts and I'm joining the OK2A as well. So if I can do it, you can do it. Sir, how do they find it?
I'd like to invite you to Liberty and come to Oklahoma where you can carry a gun without having to ask for permission to do it. That's the first thing.
Can I point it at
OK?
though?
Yeah, that's right. Well, you better take it easy on that. We are OK2A.org. That's OK2A.org. You can go on there and it says donation, and you can click, and for as little as $25, in fact, even as little as $10 for college students we have there, but most it's 20. You can start for $25. It's a bronze level. If you feel more comfortable with more, it's what's your liberty worth, and what's it worth making sure Oklahoma doesn't turn into a Virginia. This is how it's done. And like I say, if we stay on offense, you don't have to go on defense, and if you do have to go on defense, it's limited. So that's what's important. But we also have a recurring membership. Heck, for $5 a month, that's not even a box of shells. You can be supporting OK2A. And like I say, here's the other thing that people say, well, I'm already a member of NRA and GOA. Well, great, so am I. But folks, that's 1,300 miles away from us. This is our backyard where we can help keep an eye on things. And like I say, people say, well, I'm going to wait and see what you guys can do before I give you any money. Well, the fact is we've already done it. I don't know how much better of a track record we can lay down for you. So if you want to keep the train of liberty chugging forward, unfortunately, this is what it takes. And who can't handle $25 for a year membership?
Right.
So there.
Yeah, and I really hope that coming on here helps you guys get some members, because that's what it's all about. We, the membership, I'm going to be a member shortly. We, the membership, help the agency. I'm a member of multiple agencies across the nation,
right?
Because I'd rather help where I can than to say, man, what could I have done? And as you know, if you happen to have to file a lawsuit, it costs a lot of money. And
Exactly.
yeah, if you don't have it, you can't do it.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that's a great point. Because Representative Lowe, who filed this bill to repeal constitutional carry, also filed a petition to stop constitutional carry back in the summer. And people don't get this. I worked with 3 attorneys, actually 4 attorneys, to prepare the document, and just the printing of the document to go to the state Supreme Court was nearly $1,000.
Yeah.
That's just the printing of the document because it has to be done in a specific, exact way and all this stuff. So you're right. You don't just you don't. It just doesn't take care of itself. And you know as well as I do, if you've got some skin in the game, you have more interest in the game.
Oh, yeah,
It's just the way it is too. So I appreciate you pointing that out.
Oh yeah, no problem. So just as a refresher for those who might be coming in late, Oklahoma is under attack of Mike Bloomberg. He's done what he needed to do in Virginia. He's got his cronies taking care of the rest of the fight, and now he's going to other states. I know Washington is under the struggle right now from Bloomberg stuff. You all in Oklahoma are starting to taste what he has to cook. I know I think he's in Texas this week too. So there's a lot of stuff. I mean, he's not going to win the presidency. He's not going around thinking he's going to win the presidency. He's going around specifically to get his job done. And his job that he has said he wants to do is to disarm America. So just as a quick rundown, so you have bills to delete and revoke the constitutional carry. You have,
correct.
If I remember right, you have 4 different red flag options because one's
Basically
not enough.
Correct.
Yeah.
Magazine ban,
assault weapon ban, can't carry in parking lots and buildings and grounds.
Right.
What else we got? I know there was a couple other crazy ones.
Basically, that limited to carry on a public property. That is correct.
Yeah, it's insane.
Right. And again, this all came about because they're mad because we got constitutional carry, even with Bloomberg putting his money in and behind these people. And the legislators here that were Representative Lowe, they asked him, "Where are you getting the money to file these petitions?" And he said he didn't know. But yet there's Moms Demand Action's names on the deal, some of those ladies, and it's all through there. And so the Moms Demand Action, it's just a ludicrous hoax. The lady that's in charge of that, she's insane. Which she's going to say the same thing about me. So whatever, I don't care.
She's a peach.
But yeah, she's a keeper. Yeah. Massachusetts keeper. You keep her there.
No, hell no.
Yeah, no one wants to claim that stuff, do they? So, but yeah, Bloomberg's efforts here. And here's the other thing, too. The only difference between Bloomberg and the other candidates, Democrat candidates on that stage, is the words are coming out of Bloomberg's mouth. Beto already leaked it out there. Beto said he'd come and get our stuff.
Right.
Those others will do the exact same thing. It's just not right on the tip of their tongue, but they will do it. They'll fall right in line.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He has a major investment, and he's looking to make that investment good and make it work for him. All right. So we went over the bills. We went over how people can help, how they can help your agency. Anything you specifically want somebody to know, or you might have something coming up as far as meetings, hearings, rally that somebody can get involved with?
We haven't specifically scheduled a rally because of all things. The state capitol is under construction, and you don't even know where you can get a group of people together. So I've been a little standoffish, but our people are good to know on our Facebook page. We put immediately what's going on, and I invite people to make sure that they're tuned into that. Like I said, it's the Oklahoma Second Amendment Association Facebook page. And we also have a discussion group, which works out real well for educating people. You can go in, you can ask questions, like, can I carry a loaded gun in my car? Can it be a pistol or a rifle? Something like some of the strange stuff. And we answer the questions with the actual law, so you can see for yourself, so people can educate themselves on this. And it's great. It's worked out so well. We actually have a very high number of law enforcement officers that are joining, so they can be kept up to date on the new laws, what's coming down the pike, so they know what to expect. So again, if you haven't gone to ok2a.org, I would invite you to go in there and check it out. Check us out. Hit that donate button, and once you donate, you're automatically made a member. And like I say, you're just helping the cause. It's not uncomplicated here at all. It's not complicated at all.
Another message I like to throw out a lot. I am in law enforcement, and I have a message to my brothers and sisters who work in Oklahoma. You took an oath. It's your duty to honor that oath. And your oath says nothing about disarming the public. In fact, it says to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So make sure you pass that man and woman in the mirror test and do the right thing, because you guys and gals should be on the right side. So I know you have a ton of stuff to do. I am so grateful for your time. I know when we spoke on the phone that you had a lot of stuff going. So we're 35 minutes into this. I'll end this now because I know you got something to do. And then once we shut this off, just hang around for 2 seconds and I'll talk to you offline real quick.
Gotcha. Well, let me say real quick, I appreciate you accommodating my schedule. I appreciate you accommodating the concern of Second Amendment people across the state. And like I say, it's not just Second Amendment. It's about liberty. It's First Amendment stuff. It's Fourth Amendment stuff. It goes right down across the line. And again, like I say, this is what's been good about this. I wasn't familiar with you till a week ago, and all of a sudden I'm getting dogpiled with your information. And so now we've been able to connect, and it's people like you that help get this stuff done. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Did you subscribe yet?
I will. Since I'm afraid to touch anything right now because I'm afraid I'll lose you. But I will subscribe.
No worries. Yeah, so thank you everybody for your time. This is a quick impromptu live stream, so thank you all. For those who are catching the end of this, the whole thing will be sent to the channel as a regular video just as soon as YouTube does all its rendering. And if you could help the cause, you can subscribe right down below. Hit that subscribe button and be a member of this channel. Hit that thumbs up button on any video you watch and share it. And don't forget to hit that bell icon. They're supposed to tell you when I put out new content. Sometimes they do it. Sometimes they shadow ban us. But thank you all for your time. Until we see each other again with a special guest, we'll have another live stream shortly. Something coming up to be announced. My name is Jared, the humble host of Guns and Gadgets, and my friend Don Spencer has joined us from Oklahoma. Until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, and carry a weapon, everybody. Be safe and have a great night. Take care.